From the streets of Brooklyn to the towers of Manhattan, one man's ambition turned family business into an empire of steel and power. He started with his father's blueprints in Queens and built skyscrapers that made his name echo across Manhattan's skyline. Donald Trump's story begins in the quiet streets of Queens, New York. A young man with big dreams, watching his father, Fred Trump, navigate the real estate world. Fred built affordable housing in Brooklyn and Queens, known for his strict discipline and sharp eye for opportunity. Donald absorbed every move, every deal, every handshake that mattered. But while his father saw profit in stability, Donald saw glory in risk. From the very beginning, he wanted something bigger, flashier. He wanted Manhattan. At first, the Manhattan elite dismissed him as just another outer borough kid with too much ambition. But Donald Trump had a talent for turning perception into power. He studied the city's architecture, the developers, and the press. He realized real estate wasn't just about buildings. It was about branding, storytelling, and spectacle. If his father built homes, Donald would build empires. His first major deal came in the 1970s during New York's financial crisis, when the city was struggling. The Commodore Hotel near Grand Central Terminal was falling apart. Most developers ran from it. Trump saw gold beneath the dust. He convinced city officials and the Hyatt Corporation to back him in redeveloping it. With his signature confidence, he turned it into the Grand Hyatt Hotel, a shimmering symbol of renewal for the city and for himself. The deal catapulted him from borough fame to national recognition. People started to whisper the name Trump, not just as a surname, but as a symbol of success. The next big chapter came with Trump Tower, a project that defined the 1980s skyline and the man himself. Rising high above Fifth Avenue, the building wasn't just glass and steel, it was ambition personified. He filled it with gold, marble, and luxury, every inch reflecting the Trump image: power, exclusivity, and prestige. He wasn't just selling apartments, he was selling an identity. Celebrities, investors, and elite buyers flocked to own a piece of the Trump dream. The media couldn't look away, and Trump knew it. He made headlines not just for his deals, but for his charisma. He understood something most developers didn't, that the story behind the property could be just as valuable as the property itself. He became a master of attention, leveraging newspapers, television, and interviews to create what would later be called the Trump brand. Manhattan became his stage and America his audience. But empire building isn't all glamour. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Trump faced massive financial pressure. His casino ventures in Atlantic City strained his empire. The economy dipped and debts mounted. Critics predicted his downfall. Yet Trump, ever the fighter, found ways to stay relevant. He renegotiated loans, sold off properties, and leaned on his branding power. Where most would have faded, he rebuilt, stronger and bolder. By the late 1990s, Trump's comeback was in motion. The world had changed, but his philosophy hadn't. He continued expanding into hotels, golf courses, and international real estate. From New York to Chicago to Dubai, the Trump name became a global symbol of luxury and audacity. Even people who disliked him couldn't ignore his influence. What set him apart wasn't just his business strategy, it was his storytelling instinct. Trump knew how to turn architecture into theater. Every project had drama, tension, and a grand finale. He treated every deal like an episode in a larger series: the rise, the fall, the comeback. And that flair made him more than a developer, it made him a cultural figure. The story of Trump's empire is more than brick and mortar. It's about persistence, perception, and performance. He turned setbacks into headlines and headlines into opportunities. Whether it was negotiating with banks or making appearances on television, he played every angle with precision. His boldness attracted both admiration and criticism, but either way, people were talking, and that, for Trump, was power. The Trump Organization evolved into a family enterprise. His children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, became key players, carrying the legacy into new markets and industries. They learned the same lesson their father did: control the narrative and you control the deal. The Trump brand diversified beyond real estate into television, golf, and global licensing. The NBC show The Apprentice introduced him to a new generation, branding him as the ultimate deal maker. With each success and controversy, the empire grew, not just in physical structures, but in influence. Whether building skyscrapers or hosting television shows, Trump maintained a single vision: to make the name Trump synonymous with power and success. Through highs and lows, he proved that empire building is as much about resilience as it is about ambition. He built not just towers, but a myth, one that turned him from a real estate developer into an American icon. His empire began in Brooklyn, where modest housing projects laid the foundation. It rose through Manhattan's steel and glass, forged by deals that combined strategy, risk, and timing. And it expanded into a worldwide symbol, where every property bearing his name carried a piece of that original Queen's ambition. From negotiating tax breaks to sealing multi-million-dollar deals, Trump's journey reshaped how America viewed wealth and branding. Whether admired or criticized, his empire became a masterclass in self-promotion and persistence. It wasn't just business, it was spectacle, legacy, and the pursuit of greatness. Even today, the story of how Donald Trump built his real estate empire continues to fascinate, not just as a business case study, but as an American saga. A boy from Queens turned his father's blueprints into skyscrapers that defined a skyline, and in doing so, etched his name into history. His journey reminds us that success in real estate isn't only about land or buildings. It's about vision, timing, and the unshakable belief that you belong where others think you don't. Donald Trump's empire wasn't built in silence. It was built in headlines, in contracts, in controversy, and in confidence. It's a story of ambition that refuses to apologize, a reminder that even in the toughest markets, the boldest builders rise. So, as the lights of Manhattan glimmer over the towers that bear his name, one truth remains clear. Every empire starts with a dream, but only a few dare to chase it through every storm. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories behind America's biggest empires and the minds that built them.